When rescuers finally located the body of 19-year-old apprentice bricklayer Jay Slater deep inside a perilous ravine in Tenerife, it marked the devastating end to a story that had gripped Britain for weeks. What at first seemed like a routine disappearance after a night out soon spiraled into an international search effort, ending in a heartbreaking discovery among the jagged cliffs and hostile terrain of the Tenno Mountains. But while the tragic conclusion has provided some closure, the location itself, the remote ravine where Jay's body was found, has become the focus of intense scrutiny. Drone footage and first-hand accounts from rescue workers have painted a vivid picture of an environment that is both stunningly beautiful and lethally dangerous, a so-called death trap, where one wrong step could prove fatal. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is the inside story of that ravine. Its history, its dangers, and why it has become a haunting backdrop to one family's worst nightmare. A landscape of beauty and peril. Tenerife's Tenno Rural Park, tucked away on the northwestern tip of the island, is renowned among hikers for its natural grandeur. Towering basalt cliffs, narrow goat tracks, and plunging ravines cut through the volcanic rock, creating postcard-perfect scenery that belies its lethal underbelly. The ravine where Jay was found is one of the most inaccessible areas of the park. Known to locals as a place few dare to venture without proper training and equipment, it plunges hundreds of feet into a labyrinth of jagged boulders, loose shale, and dense vegetation. From above, it looks almost like a scar ripped into the landscape, a gash of shadows and rock faces that seem to swallow light itself. Footage captured by search teams shows why experts have branded it a death trap. Sheer drops appear without warning, paths disintegrate into nothing more than crumbling ledges, and any attempt to descend into its depths requires both ropes and nerves of steel. For someone unfamiliar with the terrain, the ravine is a cruel illusion. From a distance, it may look like a shortcut back to civilization, but in reality it is a twisting maze with no easy escape. The search that led to tragedy. Jay Slater had vanished after leaving a remote Airbnb in the village of Masca, high in the Tenno Mountains. His last known contact was a distressed phone call to a friend, saying he was lost, thirsty, and trying to walk back. Hours later, his phone died and silence fell. Spanish police, mountain rescue units, and later volunteers combed the area tirelessly. Drones scanned ridges, dogs scoured trails, and climbers rappelled into chasms. But the sheer scale of the mountains made the search almost impossible. It was in one of the most treacherous sections, a ravine known for its steep, loose terrain, that Jay's body was finally discovered. For rescue teams, the recovery itself was a near-impossible task. Rescue workers who were present during the recovery have spoken about the extraordinary difficulty of the terrain. "It is a place that plays tricks on your eyes," one volunteer said. "You think you see a path, but then it ends at a cliff edge. The rocks are loose, the ground shifts beneath your feet, and the sun beats down mercilessly. It's not a place anyone should be walking without experience." Another rescuer described the ravine as a funnel of danger, narrow at the top, but widening into a steep bowl where rocks and debris tumble freely. "If you fall there, you don't stop," he said bluntly. Even locals who know the Tenno Mountains well admit the ravine is feared. One shepherd, whose family has lived in the region for generations, told Spanish media, "It is not a place for tourists. Even the goats avoid parts of it. Once you go down, it is very hard to climb back up." Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. A death trap by design. What makes the ravine so dangerous is the combination of natural factors that converge within it. Volcanic rock. The ground is formed of brittle volcanic stone that crumbles easily under pressure. Even experienced hikers can lose their footing. Steep gradients. In many places, the slopes exceed 60 degrees, meaning a single slip could send a person tumbling dozens of feet. Lack of landmarks. The terrain looks deceptively similar throughout, with jagged rocks and sparse scrub, making it easy to become disoriented. Isolation. Mobile phone signals vanish quickly, leaving anyone stranded without means of calling for help. To an inexperienced walker, especially someone tired, dehydrated, and without proper gear, it is a lethal combination. The haunting imagery. Drone footage released in the aftermath has provided a bird's-eye view of where Jay was found. The images are haunting. A vast ravine stretching into the distance, its sides dotted with cacti and shrubs, its floor littered with fallen rocks. The sunlight casts long shadows that make the gorge look almost bottomless. From above, one can see how the ravine forms a natural trap. Once inside, climbing back out is almost impossible without equipment. There are no handholds, no clear trails, just sheer rock faces and slopes of shifting gravel. The footage has left many viewers shocked at the danger Jay must have faced. It looks like something out of a survival film, one social media user commented. No wonder the poor lad couldn't get out. A family's anguish. For Jay's family, visiting the ravine was a harrowing experience. Reports suggest his mother Debbie broke down when shown the site, calling it a horrible, horrible place. The knowledge that her son's final moments were spent in such an unforgiving landscape only deepened the family's grief. Friends described Debbie as crying constantly and unable to process how her boy ended up in such a location. The family's representatives have also criticized authorities for not revealing the exact coordinates sooner, claiming that transparency could have helped them understand the circumstances better. But Spanish police have defended their approach, citing the sensitivity of the terrain and the need for caution. Why the ravine draws tragedy. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sadly, Jay's death is not the first linked to Tenerife's rugged ravines. Over the years, multiple tourists and hikers have fallen victim to the island's wild terrain. Local rescue services reportedly receive hundreds of emergency calls every year from stranded hikers in the Teno Mountains alone. Many are rescued, but some are not so lucky. The combination of challenging geography and tourists underestimating the risks creates a recurring tragedy. Experts point to the island's tourism industry, which often markets Tenerife as a paradise of sun and adventure without sufficiently warning of the dangers lurking in its wilder regions. As one rescue worker put it, people come here for the beaches and nightlife, but they forget this is also a volcanic island with terrain that can kill you. Calls for change. In the wake of Jay's death, there have been calls for better safety measures. Suggestions include more warning signs at trailheads leading into hazardous areas, guided tours only for certain ravines, preventing inexperienced walkers from entering alone, improved mobile coverage in the Teno Mountains, allowing for quicker rescues, a public awareness campaign to educate tourists on the risks of hiking in the region. While some locals argue that nature cannot be tamed, others believe simple measures could prevent further tragedies. At the very least, one campaigner said, people should know what they are walking into. Jay's story should serve as a warning. The ravine as a symbol. Beyond its physical dangers, the ravine has taken on a symbolic weight in the aftermath of Jay Slater's death. To many, it represents the cruel unpredictability of nature, a place of breathtaking beauty that turned into a tomb for a young man with his whole life ahead of him. It has also become a metaphor for the wider story, the descent from hope to despair, from the belief Jay might be found safe to the grim reality of his discovery. For his family, it will forever be etched in memory as the place where their son's journey ended. For the public, it serves as a haunting reminder of how quickly a holiday adventure can turn into disaster. Conclusion. A warning from the depths. The ravine where Jay Slater was found is no ordinary landscape. It is a place that commands respect, a stark reminder of nature's unforgiving power. What happened there is a tragedy that has shaken both a family and a community thousands of miles away in Britain. But if there is any small solace to be found, it may lie in the lessons learned. The ravine stands as a warning to others that the beauty of Tenerife's wild side comes hand in hand with deadly risk. Jay Slater's story has ensured that the world now knows the name of this place, not as a tourist attraction, but as a death trap where one young man's life was cut tragically short. And in the silence of that shadowed gorge, the echoes of his story will linger for years to come. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.